Hey everyone, welcome Aadish, who was the winner of Code for Good Hackathon by JP Morgan in 2024. So today he is here to guide everything about the JP Morgan Hackathon OA experience, how to tackle Hirevue interviews, and his experience in JP Morgan Hackathon. So Aadish, let's start this video with your introduction.
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Aadish. I'm a third year computer engineering student at PDU. That is a university located in Gandhinagar. So, I've been really into competitive programming since the first year of my college. I am 3-star on CodeChef right now. I am 1444, that is specialist on Code Forces, and 1787 on Lead Code. So, I absolutely love problem solving. I would say system design is one of my favorite subjects when it comes to computer engineering. Besides that, I am also a really big fan of music. So I play piano and I have been doing music production as a hobby since 5 years. And collectively, I have had over 7 million streams as an artist on Spotify. So that is like the other side of me. And then there's the tech side of me. So I guess that is it.
Yes, Aadish. So first of all, congratulations for winning the hackathon.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, starting the video with your coding journey from your first year, how you started and how you go into competitive programming and the resources you use to do CP.
See, honestly speaking, I reached out to a lot of my seniors in my first year itself because I had no clue. I just took computer science because everyone took computer science and I had like good grades. So I wasn't really sure why I wanted to take computer science, but I did take computer science. But then I was sure that, okay, once I've taken it, I want to do something in this field. So I reached out to a lot of seniors in my first year and my real brother. So he's also a CS pass out. So he also helped me a lot initially in the first year, and everybody had the same opinion in the first year that data structures is one subject that is going to be very helpful throughout. So like every other senior I talked to, some of them have an inclination towards development, but one thing that stayed constant was data structures. So like this DSA term, I kept on hearing it from everybody. So now was the time when I actually start diving deep into and getting to know more about data structures. So in my first year, I would say prime focus was on learning a programming language and not actually learning in the advanced concepts. The everybody tells you, right, that your fundamentals need to be like really strong. So I started with C++ in my first year itself. I had C in my college academic calendar, but that was like it was really easy for me, to be honest, because I am an ICSE pass out. So I had Java as a language in my 8th, ninth, and 10th grade. So I was like really okay, and like tackling the basics of a language, they were not difficult for me. So I directly jumped on to C++ after that. And in my first year, I would say majority of my time I've just spent mastering and learning a particular language. And once I was thorough with the basics, there is something known as a template library when it comes to C++. So I shifted on to learning the STL because everybody told me that for solving problems, you need to be really good at STL. So I looked up for STL, and that was the time when I came across Striver. So like pretty much everybody at this point, everybody who's in college, they must be aware about Striver. So he's a really, really great guy. So I would say the C++ fundamentals, the STL, beginning of my journey was from Striver. But I'll tell you the reality. After a point, it's more like a tutorial hell sort of thing. After a point, you'll get out of this learning from YouTubers sort of thing, and you'll start exploring and learning on your own. So I would say first year I did spend a lot of time on YouTube looking for different YouTubers, looking for different things. But after a point, I was so comfortable with everything that I started learning things on my own. So first year, it was not very great in terms of I could have done more, but I spent majority of my time perfecting a language. And by far, I would say C++ has been the most proficient language that I've learned. And I'm like at this point like really comfortable doing anything with C++.
Okay, so little bit information about CP you want to give to the people, like how they can start CP and what resources they can use.
Okay, brilliant. When it comes to competitive programming, the first thing that you guys need to know is competitive programming is the sport. So, see, this is a very common analogy that I use. Like a lot of juniors, they also come to me and ask me that, like, how do you start with CP and like, what is CP? So, this is the general analogy that I tend to give them. And it is that CP is like JEE Advanced, whereas data structures is like JEE Main. So, if you're already doing JEE Advanced, you don't have to actually prepare for JW mains. So CP is like definitely a little bit more on the math side. It is more like a sport, and CP definitely is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So it's going to take a while to get good at it. You cannot just data structures. Whereas you have limited concepts, you have limited topics, you have limited trivial questions and interview questions that all of the companies tend to ask. So data structure is something that you can cover, I would say, in like 3 months, 4 months. If you like sit properly, if you devote yourself completely into data structures, I don't think covering the basics of data structure should take really long. But when it comes to CP is a journey. CP is a marathon, and CP definitely tends to be a little more complicated, I would say. But it's worth it, because if you start with a difficult thing, then data structure automatically becomes easier for you. And I would say there is no clear distinction when it comes to CP and data structures. Both of it, they are very interlinked. Although I'm saying that they are different things, but they are the same thing at one point, because both of them are like very interlinked. So if you want to start CP, in my opinion, see, I did a mistake, and sometimes I still regret it, that I started with lead code. Okay, initially, because I didn't know anything, I was very curious. So I wanted to learn every new topic that came across my way, and I grabbed a lot of topics at one time. And then after a point, it felt useless, because I was not applying those advanced topics. I just learned them out of my curiosity, but all I was needing is my fundamentals. When I was trying to solve questions in contest, I was struggling at it, because all I did was I learned all of the topics, but I did not master any. So I would say that don't run behind learning a lot of topics at the start. And my personal suggestion would be that Code Forces is one of the best websites when it comes to starting with computer programming. So if you are a beginner, absolute beginner, don't worry about, a lot of juniors, they ask me that we don't know anything. Like, then how do we start with such a website? Like, we are not able to solve, we won't be able to solve any problems. Then, like, why do you want us to start with such a website? And my answer to them is that you never know unless you start. So you have to give it a shot at some point. If you give it a shot right now, it will be easy for you when the time comes. So just stop thinking that you don't know about CP just yet, and you don't know any data structure, you don't know any programming language. Just pick a website and start solving problems, start giving contests. And another thing, one last thing that I want to add, please don't think that uh, you just have to trust the process. You just have to trust it so blindly, and you just have to think that it is going to lead to something beautiful one day. When I started data structures, when I started CP, I never thought it would be my pathway to JP Morgan. I just started it, I just did it because everybody told me to do it, but I stick to it. I was very consistent with what I was doing, and I was like constantly doing that every day, irrespective of I was never thinking that it would actually lead to something great in my life. I was just doing it consistently, and that is everything that I did. I trusted it that yes, if I do it, it is going to lead to something beautiful one day. So pick a language, pick a website. In my suggestion, it would be Codeforces, like a really, really beautiful platform to start with. And that should be it for starters.
Okay, so now coming to JP Morgan Code for Good, can you give a brief introduction about the hackathon so that the people who are going to participate first time, they should have the idea of what is all about?
See, I also didn't know about JP Morgan actually. And I remember receiving a mail from my placement office somewhere around March of this year. And after that mail, they had like this open house session, a seminar sort of thing, where they told us about the entire process. So the entire process is split up into three major chunks, I would say. The first chunk is registration along with resume. So you have to like submit your resume and basic details. That is what they ask initially. And in our college, the cut was, as far as I remember, it was 8.5 CGPA. So you need to have every above 8.5 to be eligible for applying. So that is the first thing. After that, if they shortlist you, I mean, I don't think there's any sort of shortlisting because everybody receives a test link initially. So after registration, you'll probably receive the test link, and it is an online test on HackerRank. That is, I guess, 45 minutes or 1 hour long. I don't remember the exact duration, but I guess it was 1 hour. And you have two programming questions, and they are easy, medium types, not super difficult, not super easy. I was able to solve both. So that's the first round. And after that, if you qualify the first round, you have the second round, which is an AI interview. It is not an interview where a person is sitting in front of you. It is an AI that is going to ask you questions. and you have to answer it. You have to record yourself while giving those responses, and those responses are then being sent to the JP Morgan's office. So like they review your responses after you have recorded it. At the time of recording, nobody is sitting in front of you. So the second round is an AI interview that is taken on a platform called Hirevue, and the third and the final round, I would say, is the hackathon, which is an in-person. The first two rounds are online; they are virtual. Whereas the third round, that is an on-site round that is being held in their locations. Like there are three locations where Code for Good takes place. One is Hyderabad, one is Bangalore, and one is Bombay. So I was allocated the Bombay Technology Center, where I went for the on-site round. And now, if you do good in the hackathon, then that is where you get the internship offer. So it's like a three-step process: the test link, second is the interview, and third is the on-site hackathon round.
Okay, so how was your interview at Hirevue? Like, what type of questions they asked?
See, Hirevue, I would say, Hirevue, I don't think there are any technical questions. None of my friends, as well as me, none of us had any technical questions in Hirevue. It was all very leadership type, situationship, and behavioral type questions. Uh, Let me try to remember. One of the question, I guess, was along these lines that I have to explain something to my teammates, and I'm unable to explain them what I mean. Like, what changes would I bring in my communication strategy so that my teammates are able to understand what I want to tell them? So I believe that was one of the questions. And there are like two big questions, but those two big questions have like three sub questions in it. And the overall round is like roughly 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And it was really impromptu. Honestly, there is no, dedicated preparation that you can do for the higher view round. It is very random. It is, you cannot, be sure that these are the type of questions they'll ask. It's like very random what type of leadership situation, what kind of situation they put you into. So it's like a 30-second window where they give you time to think. And after that 30-second window, you are given 2 minutes to record yourself. So it's like a really short time, wherein you have to formulate your response and you have to give an answer. So just work on your communication skills and try to be fluent and try to have like a good vocabulary. I would say that is it for the higher round. But mine, it was okay. I mean, I did not expect anything out of it. I just gave it like a normal round, and then it just happened, the shortlisting. But it's easy. I would say it's not like super, like very difficult.
Mostly all of the students had same type of questions.
So as I mentioned, like pretty much everybody has this type of questions,
Yes.
but it's not technical at all. It's very behavioral. And I
So,
remember after the higher view round or before the higher view round, there was like a tentative shortlisting that this Jpmc did from our college. And after the tentative shortlisting came the final shortlisting. So I don't remember the exact figures, but for the tentative shortlisting, they shortlisted, I guess, 25 or 30 people from my college. But that tentative was brought down to three people for the final shortlisting. And I was in the three people that got shortlisted for the hackathon.
so after the Hirevue interview, as you mentioned, you were the three of them to
Hmm.
go to Bombay. So how was your experience? How you managed to code to for the 24 hours?
Okay, starting off with the experience, it is like, let me tell you, it is going to be one of the best experiences that you have had in your life. The office itself, it's so humongous. It is so beautiful. Like I remember, I was like awestruck the moment I entered the JPMC office. I was not expecting it to be like so beautiful, and it's no less than a seven-star hotel, guys. It's so pretty, the entire location, and the hospitality those guys provide you for 24 hours while you're in the office. It's just mind blowing. Like it's so, the experience in itself teaches you so many things. So even if I did not manage to get the internship, I would still be happy because the experience in itself was so enriching, so fulfilling, that like it was the dream experience. Everybody dreams to work in a corporation, in an organization of like this value. It was definitely something very good. Coming to the tech side of my experience, uh, see, initially, there are I'll tell you how the whole process goes. So as soon as the hackathon starts, you are given three problems. Like at our time, it was three problem statements that were given to us, and we had to pick one problem statement out of the three that we have to like work with our team. Like the team is of 7 people, and it was three problem statements were given to us, and the problem statement is based on priority. So like the faster you fill the Google form, the higher the chances of getting the first priority. Like we filled in our priorities, like this is our priority one, priority two, and we filled our Google form and we submitted it. But sadly, we did not get our first priority. Initially, the start of the hackathon, we were like, damn, we did not get our first priority. This is our second priority, the problem statement that we were allotted. But it turned to be a blessing in disguise because there were a lot of creative things and there were a lot of new things that we could try with the second problem statement. So, starting of the hackathon really tense because we did not get the problem statement that we wished to get. But in the end, everything worked out super well. So, tech side, it is honestly everything is about your team and you. If you have a good team coordination, good team communication, I guess you don't need anything super fancy, to win the hackathon. Honestly, in our team, we had people from various domains. We had like one girl who was very good at UI UX and Figma designing. Then there were two people who were like very thorough with ML and like they have been doing ML actively, ML and AI. And then there were two guys who were doing backend, like solely backend. And then there was this one guy who was designing the database and like the whole PPT thing because that is also something that we have to design. And then there was me who was working on the entire front end. So like we had people from various domains and various backgrounds, and that is something I guess that helped us the most, that we had people from various domains. And I believe that Jpmc splits up people in such a way that every team is equally strong. None of the team is weak or none of the team is like super strong. Everybody is divided equally based on your preference. So like before the hackathon we have to fill in our preference, that do you want to be part of the full stack team or the front end team or the back end team. And I believe, as far as I remember, I filled in the full stack option and I was allotted this team. The whole 24 hours, again, no less than an experience. I remember in the middle of the night at 3 or 4, like this Jpmc employees, they came up on the hackathon floor and then they started singing songs and they started playing songs on speakers. And the entire, entire 24 hours, there was not one moment when any one of us felt sleepy, because the entire surrounding, the entire atmosphere, it's so, I don't have the exact word for it, but it was so nice that everybody was like so devoted, and you get that devotion. And again, let me mention, you don't have to do something extra fancy. Just stick to your team coordination, and obviously the mentors as well. The mentors is a very important thing. The mentors also helped us a lot. The mentors told us that these are the features that you should implement, these are the features that you should not implement. So that is also something, because everything again is not possible to implement in 24 hours. So we were very selective about what we wanted to give and what we did not want to implement. And ours was not very good looking UI or not very, but functionality wise we were spot on. Functionality, we tried to give maximum functionality, and we did not focus on the UI. And that is, I guess, one of the differentiation factor that because of why we were able to win. I mean, they never tell you why you won, but this is the reason I think that we won, because our functionality was spot on, whereas our competitive team's UI was absolutely beautiful. Like I remember, I was so scared when they were presenting their product, and I was like, "Wow, this looks so beautiful. There is no chance we are winning," and somehow we won it. All of the credit, it goes to team. I wouldn't take it on myself. We worked as a team and we did it.
So, as you mentioned, engagement with the mentors is most important.
Hmm.
So, how was your engagement with your mentors, and what type of questions he asked you for, particularly for the internship at JP Morgan in next year?
Okay, see the entire. There are basically 3 to 4 mentors that keep on switching. It's not like one mentor from the start that stays with you throughout the process. So initially, the mentor that we were assigned, he was like a really fun guy. So I asked him a lot of nonsense questions as well, like, "Are you a tea person or are you a coffee person?" Because I just had to keep the interaction going. I wanted to make him believe that I am a fun person. I'm not just techie. So I kept on the interaction, like, this icebreaker thing. Like I wanted to be comfortable with his company. So I asked him a lot of questions, a lot of non-tech questions as well, not just tech questions. And then obviously you also have to ask tech questions. Like when we entered the office, the mentors asked us to introduce ourselves. So introduction was pretty solid. And after that, as I mentioned, I kept on interacting with him whenever I could get a chance to. And like every 2 hours or 3 hours, there is a mentor call. Like the mentor calls all of you. I mean, it's different for every mentor, but our mentor, he used to call us all together in a group. So like we used to stand in a circle and he asked us questions. He asked us updates like what did you do in the last 2 hours? What are the updates in the project? So that is one time where it's your it's your time to shine. Like you have to be solid with your progress and you have to like mention exactly what you did and what role did you play. So like whenever he used to call us for those stand-up meets, I was very clear about what I did and what is going wrong. That is one thing I would say. That is one thing to keep in mind. So like whenever you get a chance, you don't miss a chance. Because if you remain quiet, if you remain silent, see, because the people in the team, everybody is very good at communication because they have also gone through the same process that I've gone through, and everybody wants that internship. So everybody wants their chance to speak, but at that level you are fighting for yourself because they are going to proctor you as an individual. They are not going to, they are definitely going to see the team effort, but you are also being monitored as an individual. So you have to find your space and you have to find your time wherein you talk to your mentor. So definitely everybody wants to talk to mentor, so just like try to find your sweet spot and try to talk to mentor. That is the first thing. Regarding what type of questions they asked me for the internship, I guess when the project was coming to an end. So like we start at afternoon the first day, and the entire process, the entire hackathon ends on the next day in the morning. So the next day 11 a.m. was like our coding cutoff. So before that coding cutoff, like our entire code base and everything was ready. So the tech side of the hackathon was done. So then the mentors that were with me at that time, they asked me a lot of questions from the code base. Like they used to pick up, any random line from the code base, and they asked me like, "Did you do this? Like, how did you do this?" Like they were just checking if I did it myself because they really wanted to know if I just copied it from elsewhere or did I actually do it myself. Because everybody use a lot of GPT, a lot of Gemini, a lot of AI tools. So they wanted to be sure that if you did it and if you're saying that you have done it, they wanted to make sure that you have done it yourself. So that is one thing. So they asked me a lot of React because as I mentioned, that I was primarily working on the front end side of things. So they asked me a lot of React. They asked me like, how would you do this, and like, why would you do it this way and not this way? Uh, those were, I would say, the only tech side of questions. Other than that, the other mentor, as I mentioned, there are like a couple of mentors that come and go. Like one of the mentors, he also asked me about my future plans. What do you want to do in future? Like, are you looking forward to do masters? And all of the mentors, they call you for a one-on-one personal interaction because, as I mentioned, you are being judged as an individual. So pretty much everybody from my team was called upon one by one, and I was also called upon as an individual. And we have to talk one-on-one with the mentor, and that is when they can ask me questions about what are your future plans, what do you want to do in life, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now. So I would say it was a mix of tech plus HR. So a little bit of HR, little bit of tech side, depending on what you were doing. So my role in the team was the front end developer, like primarily, although I worked across all domains, but I was like trying to focus on that. So they asked me from the things that I did in the hackathon. So like he also asked me a little bit of system design. Like if I were to design a system where I had to work with a lot of images, then would I store the images locally on my computer, or like will I store the images on a cloud service? So obviously my answer was that I would definitely store it on the cloud service, something like a CDNs. So they wanted to also just know that, are you aware about the current technologies, are you aware about what is happening in the industry right now? Obviously they are not going to go so much in detail with the whole system design. They're just going to ask you the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, like, do you know about this, do you know about this? And just make sure that if you say something, you should know that, because I got so many counters on basis of what I said. I mentioned CDN, then the immediate next question was on CDN, that what are CDNs, like why would you use a CDN, what if one CDN goes down? So be ready for counters. So as soon as you mention something, depending upon the mentor, they are definitely going to counter you because they want to know that, are you bluffing or do you actually know what you know? So pretty mix of HR and tech, but mine I would say was pretty solid because, as I said, since the start I was trying to be interactive with the mentor. So you just treat him as a friend. You have to be friendly with your mentor. If you treat him as a mentor, as somebody, then you would be scared of him and you wouldn't talk to him so much. Don't treat him somebody like that. Treat him like a friend and try to talk to him whenever you get a chance to talk to him.
So, after how many days you have received that internship letter?
Okay, the question that I myself was wondering, last year around same time when I didn't know, like I looked up on internet so much regarding this that like after the hackathon, when do you actually get the results? So the answer to the question is, uh, June 15th and 16th was when the hackathon happened, and I roughly received the confirmation from JP Morgan, uh, I guess 2 months, 1.5, 2 months down the line. So September first week, I remember September first week. Hold on, January, February, March, April, May, June. June was the event. So July, August, and September. Yeah. So September first week, I remember around 9:30 in the night. Like I came back from the mess after having my dinner, and I just opened to check the mail, and I saw like, oh, and it was a mail that we received from our placement office. So like JP does not mail you directly, they mail the selection list to your placement office, and then your placement office tells you that you're selected or you're not selected. So the result, it took quite a while, and it tests your patience because every day you just think that are you going to get selected, are you not going to get selected.
So, have you received your location for the internship?
Not yet, not yet. They told us that they would be sending out the offer letters in December, as far as I remember. So I'm assuming that along with the offer letter, they'll also tell us the location. But I've filled in Mumbai and Bangalore as the first preference. So let's see if they allot me that. But the end is like the end decision is there. Like depending
Yeah.
upon vacancies, they would like put you into locations.
Yes.
And one thing that I would say is, see, it is definitely irrespective of whether you win the hackathon or whether you don't win the hackathon. The whole internship selection process is irrespective of that. But what I sometimes feel is winning the hackathon definitely adds those cherry points and that cream on the cake. So it definitely gives you, I would say, a little bit of extra chances. I guess 5 people from my team got the intern offer out of 7, so pretty solid, I would say. Like give your best. You don't have to definitely win the hackathon, but try for winning because why not? You want that iPad. So like they give iPads to every winner, right? That is also one of the things.
Congratulations for winning the hackathon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, last question just I want to ask any advice from your side for the students who are going to participate this time?
Any advice? Oh my god. Uh, Let me think. See, honestly, I would be very honest with how the whole thing went. Web development and ML are the two topics where the hackathon is mostly based upon. So try to master at least one of these two things because you'll definitely be exposed to developing a user interface and a backend. Because any system, may be an ML system, you need a user interface to work with the system. So web development or interface development, app development is, I would say, in at my time it was none of the problem statements dedicatedly required us to develop like an app module, but web development and machine learning, I would say, are those two topics that you should definitely work upon. Like if you are actually planning upon winning the hackathon, try to at least learn one thing properly. And besides that, for clearing the first round, see, the higher view round is solely dependent upon your communication skills. Communication is something that you're not going to learn formally. You just have to speak to a lot of people, try to read books, try to listen to a lot of songs. That is one thing you can do. But for the two other rounds, the hackathon and the test, both of them are technical. The first round, I would say, if you are an active DSA guy, like who likes to do DSA on a regular basis, I don't think clearing the first round would be an issue because, as I mentioned, the questions were on the medium side of difficulty, not too hard, not too easy. I was able to solve both in 35 minutes or 30 minutes, I don't remember. So shouldn't be very difficult if you are an active person who like actively doing DSA. When it comes to hackathon, as I mentioned, these are the two things that I would say mostly. The problem statements are tried. They incline on these, and along with that, one thing. focus on your CG. I know a lot of people say that college CG should not matter, CG does not matter. But the trend that I've noticed, I don't know if it's true or if it's this is just something that I've noticed. Everybody from my team as well, they were like university top rankers, and everybody that JP Morgan selected, those were people that have like good CG along with good resume, definitely. So try to also focus on your CG. Don't let CG, कि हाँ चलो college academics है तो छोड़ दिया. My CG is also like pretty solid. It's like 9.9. So they definitely, I would say, did take CG into consideration. So like, see, I'm trying to be honest with you guys. I don't want to, make fool of anything. So try to focus on your CG. Try to make a good resume. Try to have good communication skills. And if you are learning DSA actively, I don't think clearing the first round should be an issue. If there's anything more that you guys want, then I would attach my LinkedIn in the caption of this video, so description of this video, so you guys can reach me out on LinkedIn or anywhere, and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions that you guys have.
You are like 9.9 CGPA specialist, 3 star, everything.
And 9.91 to be precise. Like it fell. It was 9.93 peak, and then it fell to 9.91. So at the time of JP, it was 9.93 actually, and then it fell to 9.91.
They mostly
But
select
none of
people
it is.
based on CGPA only, as far
They
as I
do. I mean, I feel
can
that
see.
they definitely do take CG into consideration. And sometimes, it is a little unfair as well, I feel, because certain colleges, they have relative grading, right? And relative grading, it's like really difficult to get like good CGPA. Whereas in colleges that don't have relative grading, it's relatively a little simple to achieve like higher grades. So, like in other colleges, getting above 8.5 is really difficult, and because of that, although they have a good score, just because they don't have 8.5 and above, they are not qualified for the main round. But JP, I would say, and not just JP, every company, if you have, see, it's like cherry on the cake. So, if you have good CGPA, nobody is going to stop you. So, why not have a good CGPA? Why not also focus on college academics? So, definitely try to have that good CG in your back. It's going to help.
Okay, Adish, this was from my side. Thanks a lot for coming and guiding the students.
No issues, no issues.